Yo, Marvel just pulled off one of the absolute most shocking moments in X-Men history. Did they really just kill Magneto? And if so, what does this mean for the rest of the season? What does this mean for the rest of the season? Uh, Guys, I just finished the episode and it was amazing, man. We're gonna break down everything from this recent episode, including Apocalypse's transformation. Man, that was crazy, man. That was pretty intense. Inside a nerd fully embraced becoming Apocalypse. You know, there was a moment in the episode where Xavier kind of seemingly got to him, and the producers toyed with us. They toyed with us because they made him seem like, yeah, okay, like he's gonna go with agree with what Xavier's talking about, but he ended up like just kind of going along with it just to reach his goal of becoming Apocalypse, man. So beautiful animation during this episode. Xavier, we find out that the X-Men were responsible in helping him to become Apocalypse in the first place. Right? So Xavier read his mind and found the location of the temple. Ramatut, aka King, had jumped in there and tried to manipulate Xavier and say, hey man, like you guys don't ever beat Apocalypse. Like he's unbeatable. If he gets this technology, like he's gonna be unbeatable. Let me have it. Let me have it. Which, brings up the point, like, would he be more beatable than Apocalypse with that technology, that celestial technology? So it was portrayed as both a gift and a curse in this situation. Kang could easily got it, but Apocalypse assumed it and became what he became. A destructive force. So that was pretty cool. Now Xavier, I think he probably could have prevented this if he just eliminated Apocalypse then and there. I feel like he had the power to eliminate him before he became even more assumed his ultimate form. But Xavier being Xavier, he wanted to kind of leave things up to fate, and Apocalypse's fate ultimately it was inevitable, man. He was always going to be who he became. He was always going to do that. Like no matter what, no matter who was in his ear, Magneto, Xavier, like him becoming Apocalypse was always inevitable. So that was a very good how they did that. But question for the chat: do you guys think that Xavier could have saved Insabaner, or was this always like destined to happen? Was it always destined to happen? Like I said, I don't think there's anything that he could have done to like change his mind because he was who he was. He became who he became, man. It was pretty intense episode. To me, it was like one of the best in the entire uh, show. Best in the entire show, easily. Magneto's death. Now, this was the biggest event of the episode. It was pretty brutal. Magneto, the X-Men, Bishop, Magneto sent the X-Men back to their time with Bishop's device against their will. And Xavier managed to grab onto his cape and he stayed to kind of try to help him out. But, like against that beast, like there's nothing you could do against that beast, man. Apocalypse easily defeated them. But just him, the way he brutalized Magneto, man, he was like throwing him around, hitting him with his like special powers, and like Magneto didn't stand a chance in hell against Apocalypse. So we get to the scene where Magneto finally gets a little breathing room away from him, wraps him up in metal and slings him halfway across the Egypt. But that was short lived. But now Magneto, like he legit sacrificed himself, man. Because if you guys go back and see the episode, he really like he saved the city. He saved that city, and like he ended up buying the X-Men some time too by destroying ship. used the ship to destroy the blast that he had set in motion. So set that slowed Apocalypse down. But like once he everything is settled, Apocalypse showed up, and man, he like I never see Magneto manhandle like that. He like legit grabbed bro by his head and was like, "Lie to him, Charles. Tell him he's gonna be okay." And then he sent bro to the next dimension. Man, it was pretty intense scene, man. Like never seen anything like that from a Disney show. It's clear Marvel is taking this to a place that uh, we've never been before. So kudos to them for that. It was very brutal, and just seeing Xavier's reaction and to everything going on, and him seeing like Magneto get destroyed like that, it was pretty intense, man. It was an emotional scene. Xavier clapped back though, man. I don't know if y'all heard that. He was like, "Your mother should have left you in the sand." Like, yeah, bro, character. Like Xavier, bro, character. Like you're the professor of, you got all these young people looking up to you, and like, just imagine if any of his students heard him say that. Just imagine if any of his students heard him say, "Tell Apocalypse, your mother should have left you in that desert." Now, I lost a little respect for Xavier there, man. But there's a lot of symbolism in Magneto dying, trying to save the future instead of conquering it, because he could have easily manipulated um, Apocalypse, but he put others in front of himself for once. So that was pretty good, man. It was one of the best episodes, man. Compared to Gambit's death from season one, it was much more. I'd say it was much more of an emotional weight, because Gambit, like he died in Genosha and all that, but like with Magneto, like we all know that Gambit is going to be brought back as a horseman. Like we saw the previews of him. Now with Magneto, that's one of those things where we don't know what's going to happen the rest of the season with him. He died in the past. Is he still going to, like, is the future Magneto still going to be around? So that's what I'm very interested in seeing play out. So, but yeah, I think his scene was definitely better than Gambit's scene, death scene in season one. Uh, do you guys think Magneto is actually gone? Like, what's the deal with that? What's the plan? Now I know in the X-Men universe, like death isn't always, it's rarely permanent, and a lot of people, many expect some form of return. I know they have the Krakoa storyline coming up. There's something they could do where they regenerate mutants there. External, she was in this episode with Kang. She could potentially, revive him, and even Apocalypse could possibly revive him. So that remains to be seen. The Xavier versus Apocalypse fight, that was pretty intense too. Like this episode really highlights the clash of those philosophies. Xavier believes in hope for humanity and compassion, redemption, and Apocalypse believes in strength, survival, and evolution through suffering. And that's what Apocalypse has become over the years. That's what happened to him. That's his story. He basically became a god through his suffering. He was born a slave and lived life as a slave. So, yeah, man, that was pretty. I like those warring philosophies. So, yeah, man, I'm very very well written. So, like I said, man, I'm very interested to see what happens the rest of this season. This between them two, like this isn't just a fight. It's an ideological war. Between two factions. And then we get the Ramatut and Kane connections. The Ramatut's role was essentially to try to quell any hope of Apocalypse becoming Apocalypse. He wanted the role of Apocalypse for himself, and he failed. He failed. He honestly should have took matters into his own hands. Uh, he did in his blast at the end of last episode. Clearly failed. He managed to wipe out all the weaklings, but he didn't even scathe Apocalypse. So I think Kang, with him fully transforming into Kang at the end of the episode, Kang is going to possibly be a big player in the rest of the this season, or possibly the Marvel universe. Kang's not done. Kang's not done. So maybe we'll see him again in future movies. So, but even though the live action MCU films have kind of shifted away from him, we might see him still around in animation, which I think is good. But do you guys think that Marvel should bring King back through animation, or what do you guys thoughts on that? I know the whole thing with Jonathan Majors, and like a lot of actors and directors, they lose their job and then get rehired later on once everything settles down. But I feel like he didn't do a horrible job as Kang. He did actually a pretty good job. But we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes. The post-credit scene was huge setup. Huge setup. We got Wolverine. We got Weapon X. Adamantium. He possibly getting his adamantium back. This could lead into the next major storyline for X-Men. It's kind of taking us all over the place, man. We've got Weapon X. We've got seeing what happens with Apocalypse, with Kang. Like we are, like there's a ton of places it could go. We got a Captain America cameo, Black Widow at the end. So, we could possibly see Omega Red in one of the future episodes. I really want to see him in live action. Like, I really want to see Omega Red in live action. They teased him in last season, so I think they should bring him to the forefront. I think he'd be a really good villain. He's powerful. He's part of Wolverine's backstory. Now, I know Wolverine's a big, X-Men leader of the X-Men type guy, but I want somebody else to step to the forefront. Man. I don't want just Wolverine to be at the forefront of X-Men. Like X-Men 97's been doing a good job of, kind of reviving Cyclops and having him having him show us what he can do, with his laser power. So I'm very interested to see what that goes, man. How that goes with that. But huge setup. We got the cosmic references to Apocalypse origin, celestial technology. So it was a lot going on in this episode, man. A lot going on in this episode. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. I wish I didn't have to wait an entire week, but yeah, man. What do you guys think about the episode? Let me know. Is Magneto done for good? How's this going to affect Xavier? I guess that effectively ends our Onslaught hopes. He was kind of teased last season and a little bit this season as one of the faces in the mountains. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that what direction they go in with that. But Magneto is. I guess he's run his course in the past. Even who knows? He might still be around in the future. But there's a lot of symbolism in him dying, trying to save the future instead of conquering it. So, you guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Is Apocalypse already one of the best villains, the MCU villains? He's like unforgiving. He's kind of like Thanos in a way, man. But he's a little more scary. He's like crazy. Like to me, Apocalypse is crazy. Thanos, is a little more sensible, but Apocalypse is ruthless and a little more crazy. Like, he's the X-Men's worst villain. Like Xavier or Bishop said, like, you trying to make a good guy out of the worst villain, out of our worst foe? And he absolutely had that point. So, yeah, man, great episode. Top 3 of the series so far. Really looking forward to the next one. And seeing where it goes. But you guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Appreciate you guys joining, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.